Alrighty guys, welcome to the video here today for Wednesday, August 10th, 2022. My name is Brock Page and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. I also sell my personal sports bets on patreon.com/BrockPage. And I'm 4-0 my last 4 board member tier package bets on that website. Now the board member package is a membership that I offer. And not only do you get access to the board member tier package bet itself, you also get access to every single bet, every single package, every single day, all the way through the end of August. It's an all-inclusive membership. Now, we currently have over 565 members who are signed up and active on my website right now. We also have other different packages on that site, starting at just $1.99. Now, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my website. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. And what I do on patreon.com/BrockPage is I actually share with you which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to start off with the Reds taking on the Mets, 1:10 p.m. East. The New York Mets are -$3, totals 9 runs. Taijuan Walker for New York, TJ Zeuch for Cincinnati. Now Zeuch is making his season debut in the Bigs here today. Not in the Bigs, I'm sorry. Just making his season debut with Cincinnati. And the Reds really need a good outing out of him. Cincinnati already lost 4 out of their last 6. And they're winning just 37% of their road games. Now, out of their last 10 head-to-head meetings with New York, the Reds have been held to just 3.2 runs a game. They also have to face Taijuan Walker here today for New York. The righty's 9-3 with a 3.45 ERA. Now, the red-hot Mets are also in a 5-game winning streak. They are quite dangerous to pitch against. New York's in the top 5 in scoring, top 5 in OPS. Pete Alonso's got a National League leading 95 RBI on the year. He's also 5th in the Bigs in homers with 29 of them. Meanwhile, Jeff McNeil leads the club with a .306 batting average. When it comes to the total, 5 out of New York's last 7 home games did get over the line. They're also 32-23 to the over in all of their contests in Flushing, Queens. Meanwhile, Taijuan Walker, he saw his last 3 straight starts get over the total as well. I'm going to lean toward the New York Mets -1.5 and the over 9. Next ball game, Rays, Brewers, 2:10 p.m. East. Milwaukee's -165, total 7.5. Brandon Woodruff, was that Blandon, did I say? Brandon Woodruff for Milwaukee, Jeffrey Springs for Tampa Bay. Now Springs comes into today's contest with a .250 ERA and a 1.08 whip. He's also struck out 83 batters in just over 79 innings. The Rays have won 4 out of their last 6 as a team, and they average over 5 runs a game in those 4 victories. Yandy Diaz is the club leader in batting average. Meanwhile, Randy Arozarena leads the franchise in runs batted in. Now they're taking on a Milwaukee team who lost 6 out of their last 8, and they allowed 40 total runs during that span. When it comes to cashing in on the run line, these guys have covered the 1.5 in just 38% of their home games. Now, Milwaukee's biggest problem at the plate is strikeouts. These guys are actually in the bottom 10 in the league in strikeouts per 9 at the dish. When it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of Milwaukee's last 4 in their own building fell under the number. Meanwhile, the Rays went 70% to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward Tampa Bay +1.5. And the under 7.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Nats Cubs, 2:20 p.m. East. The Chicago Cubs are -170, totals 8 runs. Justin Steele for Chicago, Josiah Gray for Washington. Now Gray's got a losing record and an ERA dangerously close to 5. And even if Gray pitches well here today, the Nats as a team have lost 8 out of their last 10. And they've been little threat hitting the long ball. These guys are currently in the bottom 3 in homers per contest, and they're also scoring just 3.9 runs a game for the entire year. They're also facing Justin Steele here today, who's had a handful of good outings despite his record. The lefties fan 97 batters and just 95 plus, and he has an ERA in the mid-threes. Now, out of these teams' last 10 head-to-head meetings, the Cubs have had little issue sending runners across the plate. They're averaging nearly 5.5 runs a game in their last 10 outings against Washington. Now, Patrick Wisdom is leading the team in homers and RBI. Meanwhile, Nico Hoerner's hitting just about 300 at the plate. He's the club leader in batting average. Now, when it comes to the total, 5 out of Justin Steele's last 8 starts did get over the number. Meanwhile, the Nationals saw their last 6 road games get over the total themselves. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Cubs, -1.5 in the over 8. Next ball game I have for you, it is going to be Angels taking on the Athletics, 3:37 Eastern start time. Now, Oakland's -1.25, total 7.5. Paul Blackburn for the A's, Patty Sandoval for Los Angeles. And don't let Patty's record fool you. He's thrown some very good innings this season. Out of 95 innings of work, the lefty struck out 102 batters. He also has an ERA of 3.41. Meanwhile, as a team, the Angels have won 4 out of their last 6. And that includes a couple of victories against Oakland during that stretch. Of course, Shohei Ohtani, he is a team best 25 homers and 66 runs batted in. Meanwhile, Taylor Ward's the team leader in batting average. Now, these guys are going up against Paul Blackburn here today. And even though Blackburn was a lone bright spot for the A's in the first half of the season, well, kind of seeing him come back to reality a little bit here. The righty's now got himself an ERA of 4.28. And more recently, the A's as a team, they've lost their last 4 straight, and they've had a terrible time hitting the baseball this year. These guys are currently dead last in team batting average, and they're also scoring just 3.4 runs per contest. Now, when it comes to the total in this one, Oakland went 60% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, the Angels saw 7 out of their last 10 fall under the total as well. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Angels +105 and the under 7.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Yankees-Mariners, 4:10 p.m. East. The New York Yankees are -1.25, total 7.5. Nestor Cortez for New York, Robbie Ray for Seattle. Now, Robbie comes into today's game with an 8-8 record and an ERA just about in the 4s. And even if Robbie turns it on here today, these Seattle hitters haven't been great. They're actually in the bottom 10 in runs per contest, and they're also hitting just .232 as an organization. Now, they're squaring off against a very tough pitcher here today, Nestor Cortez. Nestor's actually 9-3 on the year with an ERA in the 2s. He's also got 115 strikeouts and a 1.02 whip. And of course, always fun watching him pitch as he's got that unconventional wind-up on almost, I don't want to say every pitch, but at least with every batter, he's throwing something in there to throw off the tempo. But anyway, when it comes to offensive production in this one, there's no team hitting more home runs than the Yankees. Aaron Judge has a league-best 44 home runs, along with 98 RBI. Now, in addition to those 2 stats, he's also leading the Bigs with a 1.068 OPS. When it comes to the total, 4 out of Cortez's last 7 starts did fall under the total. Meanwhile, 5 out of Robbie Ray's last 8 starts fell under the line as well. I'm going to lean toward the Yankees -1.25 and the under 7.5. Next matchup, Giants-Padres, 4:10 p.m. East. San Diego's the $1.65 favorite, totals 8.5. Sean Manaea for San Diego, Jacob Junis for San Francisco. Now, Junis has an ERA in the low 3s along with a solid 1.10 whip. The Giants have also gotten the W in 3 out of their last 4. And they scored 18 total runs during that time frame. Matter of fact, guys, this Giants lineup is still in the top 10 in runs per game. Wilmer Flores leads the club in RBI with 56 of them. Meanwhile, Thairo Estrada is the team leader in batting average. Now they're taking on Sean Manaea here today, who's got an ERA of 4.74, along with a sloppy 1.32 whip. Meanwhile, as a team, the Pods lost 5 out of their last 6, and they were shut out twice during that span. Now, total-wise, the Pods went 32-23 to the under this year at Petco Park. They're also averaging just 3.7 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with San Francisco. Meanwhile, the Giants saw 4 out of their last 5 Jake Junis starts fall under the total themselves. I'm going to lean towards San Francisco plus 1.5 and the under 8.5. Next ball game, Marlins Phillies 7:05 East. Philadelphia is minus 130, total 7.5. Noah Syndergaard for Philadelphia, Sandy Alcantara for Miami. And even though Sandy's been dominant this season, he's probably not going to get the run support he needs. The Fish lost 8 out of their last 10, and they scored 3 runs or less 9 times during that span. And speaking of hitting woes, there's really not many teams who score less runs a game than Miami. They're in the bottom 5 in the league in runs per contest. They're also taking on Noah Syndergaard here today, who's got an ERA in the 3s along with a 1.21 whip. Now, the red-hot Phillies have also won their last 6 straight, and they posted a record of 11-1 since July 26. Kyle Schwarber leads the National League in home runs with 34 of them. Meanwhile, Alec Boehm's the team leader in batting average at the plate. He's hitting nearly 300. Now, total-wise, 4 out of Philly's last 5 ball games at Citizens Bank Park got over the number. They're also 62% to the over in their divisional ball games. Meanwhile, Miami saw 2 out of their last 3 Alcantara starts get over the total themselves. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Fightins, minus 130, and the over 7.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Blue Jays taking on the Orioles, 7:05 Eastern first pitch. Now, Toronto's minus 145, totals 9. Jose Barrios for the Jays, Gene Kramer for Baltimore. Now, Dean's definitely given these guys a chance to win ball games this year. He's 4-3 on the season with an ERA of 3.43. Now, the O's have also won 7 out of their last 8, and they average just about 6 runs a game in those victories. Anthony Santander leads the franchise in homers and RBI. And when these guys play at home, the O's are actually winning over 61% of their ball games at Camden Yards. This is a team who's been playing very well in front of their home fans this year. Now, the Blue Jays, on the other side, they've actually struggled in divisional play. They actually have a losing record against the AL East this year. And more recently, they actually lost 5 out of their last 7. And even though Jose Barrios has a real good record, he's very susceptible to giving up runs. And as a matter of fact, Barrios comes into this ball game here today with an ERA in the 5s. Now, total-wise, Toronto's actually 11-8 to the under in their divisional road games. Kind of surprising considering how good their lineup's been. But yeah, plenty of unders in divisional play. Meanwhile, Baltimore on the other side, they went 7-4 to the under in their last 11 Dean Kramer starts. I'm going to lean toward Baltimore plus 1.5 in the under 9. Next ball game, Braves, Red Sox, 7:10 p.m. East. Atlanta's the $1.40 favorite on the road. Totals 9.5. Kyle Wright for Atlanta, Nick Pivetta for Boston. Now, Pivy's just 8-8 on the year with an ERA of 4.51. He's also got a 1.33 whip, and that really shouldn't come as a surprise as the Bo Sox have struggled with their pitching this year. They're allowing just about 5 runs a game for the entire season. Now, they're also taking on a dangerous Atlanta lineup who leads the National League in home runs. Austin Riley is in the top 3 in the league with 30 homers on the year. He's also in the top 5 in OPS. Now, when it comes to the pitching, Kyle Wright continues to rack up the W's this year. He's 13-5 with an ERA in the low 3s. Now, the righty's also got 124 strikeouts and a 1.17 whip. Now, when it comes to the number, Atlanta did go 9-2 to the over in their last 11 interleague contests. They also saw their last 6 straight road games all get over the total as well. I'm going to lean toward the Braves minus 140 over 9.5. Next matchup, it is going to be Guardians taking on the Tigers, 7:10 Eastern first pitch. Cleveland's the $1.75 favorite on the road, totals 8 runs. Aaron Savali for Cleveland, Drew Hutchison for Detroit. Now, Hutch has had a pretty tough year for the Tigers. He's just 1-5 with an ERA in the 4s. He's also got a 1.44 whip. Meanwhile, as a team, the Tigers lost 8 out of their last 10, and they've been a disaster hitting the baseball. Detroit's dead last in scoring, dead last in OPS. They're also taking on a Cleveland team on the other side who won their last 3 straight. And they also got the W in 6 out of their last 9. And when it comes to making contact with the baseball, well, there's really not many teams who do it better than Cleveland. They're in the top 10 in team batting average, and they actually strike out fewer times a game than any other team in the league. Very tough to strike these guys out. Now, Andres Jimenez, he's hitting a team best .302 for the Guardians. Meanwhile, teammate Jose Ramirez, he's third in the bigs with 87 runs batted in. When it comes to the total, Cleveland's last 3 straight road games all got over the posted total. They're also 7-3 to the over in their last 10 outings. Meanwhile, the Tigers on the other side, they're actually 14-10 to the over in their divisional home games. I'm going to lean toward Cleveland minus 1.5 and the over 8. Next ball game, a little more AL Central action. I'm talking about the White Sox squaring off against the Royals, 8:10 Eastern first pitch at Kauffman Stadium. The White Sox are the $1.40 favorite on the road, totals 9. Johnny Cueto for the Chi Sox, Chris Bubich for Kansas City. Now, Boobies has just 2 wins on the year with an ERA in the 5s. And even if the Boob Dog pitches well here today, he may not get the run support he so desperately needs. The Royals are in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 5 in home runs. They also have to face Johnny Cueto here today for Chicago, who has an ERA in the 2s along with a 1.19 whip. Pretty good numbers out of Quates. Now, the White Sox also play their best baseball on the road. They're actually playing better baseball away from home than they are at Guaranteed Rate Field. They also have little issue getting base runners. Chicago is currently in the top 5 in team batting average. Of course, Tim Anderson leads the club with a .301 batting average. And of course, Luis Robert, he leads the team in runs batted in. Now, when it comes to the total, 8 out of these teams' last 10 head-to-head meetings fell under the number. So if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. The White Sox also went 80% to the under in their last 10 outings themselves. Meanwhile, the Royals are 18-9 to the under against the AL Central at Kauffman Stadium. I'm going to lean toward the White Sox minus 140, under 9. Next ball game, it is going to be Rangers Astros, 8:10 p.m. East. Houston's minus 345, total 7.5. Justin Verlander for Houston, Glenn Otto for Texas. Now, Glenn's had a pretty rough year for the Rangers. Not only is he 4-8, he's also got a .531 ERA. Meanwhile, as a team, Texas lost 7 out of their last 10, and they're having a tough time getting base runners. These guys are actually in the bottom 10 right now in team batting average. They also have to square off against Justin Verlander here today. I'll tell you what, that is not a fun task. Verlander's had dynamic stuff this season. You know, every year he pitches, you're thinking in your mind, like, this is his best year yet. I mean, this guy just continues to get better. The veteran's 15-3 with an ERA of just 1.73. Now, Verlander's also punched out 127 batters and has a .85 whip. Those are incredible numbers. I guess really the only thing to nitpick at is that strikeouts are maybe a little bit down for him. A measly 127 strikeouts in August. I mean, I don't know what to say. This guy's just been amazing. Now, he's also backed by a Houston lineup who can hit the long ball at any given time. These guys are in the top 5 in home runs, and they're led by Yordan Alvarez, who has 30 homers on the year. Now, Alvarez is also second in the majors with a 1.033 OPS. When it comes to the total, 8 out of Houston's last 10 meetings with Texas fell under the number. So once again, another one of those historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. Meanwhile, the Astros are 64% of the under in their divisional ball games. Now the Rangers on the other side, they've been held to just 2.7 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Houston. So I'm going to lean toward the Astros minus 1.5 and the under 7.5 in that tight window. Next ball game, Cardinals Rockies, 8:40 p.m. East. St. Louis is minus 150, totals 11.5. Jose Quintana for St. Louis, Kyle Freeland for Colorado. And even though Freeland hasn't been great this season, he does still come in with a 7-7 record on the year. Now, the Rockies have also been pounding the baseball in Denver. They're leading the league in home scoring. And they've got Jose Iglesias, who's hitting a team-best .316 at the plate. Matter of fact, Iglesias is in the top 5 in the league in that batting average category. Meanwhile, C.J. Cron's 6th in RBI with 79 of them. Now, they're taking on Jose Quintana, who's got just 3 wins on the year in 103 innings of work. Now, the Cards are also, they've got themselves a losing record on the road this year. They're just 25-29 straight up when they bat first. Now, total-wise, Quintana's 9-5 to the over in their last 14 starts. Meanwhile, Colorado went 60% to the over in their last 10. I think we're going to see some more of the same like we did yesterday. We had a better out, I think in Vegas, who lost $250,000. He laid the 175 with St. Louis, and he was down like 12-0 by the third inning yesterday. It's terrible. I do feel for him, but we're going to go ahead and lean toward Colorado plus 1.5 in the over 11.5. Next ball game, Pirates D-backs, 9:40 p.m. East. Arizona's minus 150, totals 8 runs. Madison Bumgarner for Arizona, Mitch Keller for Pittsburgh. Now, Kells has just 3 wins on the year along with, he has just 3 wins on the year through 108 innings pitched. He also has an ERA in the 4s along with a 1.42 whip. Meanwhile, as a team, the Buccos lost 4 out of their last 5. And they were shut out twice during that span. And that really shouldn't come as much of a surprise. These guys are second to last in the majors in team batting average. Now they're squaring off against Mad Bum here today, who still has an ERA in the 3s despite his record. And even if Bumgarner struggles, we are looking at a D-backs team who won their last 3 straight. And they rank in the top 10 in home scoring. Christian Walker has a team-best 26 homers and 62 RBI. He's actually in the top 10 in the bigs in that home run category. Meanwhile, Ketel Marte is the club leader in batting average. When it comes to the scoring, Arizona went 60% to the over in their last 10. They also went 7-2 to the over in their last 9 Mad Bum starts. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh went 70% to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward Arizona minus 150. In the over 8 runs. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It is going to be Twins-Dodgers, 10:10 p.m. East. The LA Dodgers are minus 155, totals 9. Ryan Pepio for the Dodgers, Sonny Gray for Minnesota. And even though Gray's had a real good season, the Twins lost 4 out of their last 7. And they've really struggled in their interleague contests. Out of 16 games against the National League, the Twins have actually come up with the W only 5 times. Now, they're taking on a white-hot Dodger club who won their last 9 straight, and they scored 62 total runs during that streak. They scored 62 total runs during that streak. Now, Trey Turner has a team-best 80 runs batted in. He's actually 5th in the big leagues in that category. Meanwhile, Freddie Freeman's hitting .323 at the plate. He's 3rd in the bigs in that category as well. When it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of these guys' last 4 ball games at Dodger Stadium got over the line. Meanwhile, Minnesota went 60% to the over in their last 10 at any location. I'm going to lean toward the Dodgers minus 1.5. And the over 9 runs. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap for Wednesday, August 10th, 2022. And as always, guys, our quick pick recap is powered to you by my website, at patreon.com/BrockPage, where I'm currently 4-0 my last 4 board member tier package bets. I like the Mets minus 1.5 over 9. Give me the Rays plus 1.5 under 7.5. I like the Cubbies minus 1.5 over 8 runs. Give me the Angels plus 105 under 7.5. New York Yankees minus $1.25 under 7.5 runs. San Francisco plus 1.5 under 8.5. Philadelphia minus 130 over 7.5. Baltimore plus 1.5 under 9. Atlanta Braves minus 140 over 9.5. Cleveland Guardians minus 1.5 over 8. Chicago White Sox minus 140 under 9. Astros minus 1.5 under 7.5. Colorado plus 1.5 over 11.5 runs. Arizona minus 150 over 8. And before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that if you want to see which one of these free YouTube picks on this video that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. I'm going to lean toward the Dodgers minus 1.5 and the over 9. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, just keep in mind you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. And guys, if you want to get access to every single bet, every single package, every single day, you're going to want to sign up for my board member package. It's an all-inclusive membership. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, guys, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.